Hi everybody, my name is Jessie and I do perfume reviews in ASMR format. So if you enjoy perfume and also ASMR, you are in a good place for our video today. And today I'm doing a review of Victoria's Secret's First Love. I purchased this completely randomly in store yesterday because I had one of those get a free panty with any purchase, and I was smelling perfumes. I hadn't ever seen this one. I smelled it and I was like, that's so nice. And then I saw that it was on sale for $25 or something, so I went ahead and purchased it. And then I got home and I thought to myself, this smells exactly like something I know. And I was like, what is it? And I didn't give myself very long to think about it because I went on Fragrantica and looked at the fragrances it's compared to and learned that it smells so similar, and other people agree, to Chanel's Chance Eau Tendre. This is the Eau de Parfum version, not the Eau de Toilette version. These, I'm just going to say, are almost one-to-one dupes. So if you know you like the smell of this but you don't want to pay the price, this is, to me, like basically indistinguishable. I did spray them both and I'll smell that in a minute just to see if I can detect any nuance, but honestly I can't. I cannot really detect any differences so far. So anyway, goes without saying that I really like this scent because I also really like Chanel's Chance Eau Tendre Eau de Parfum. And yeah, so we'll go ahead and review this, and as always I dressed on theme. It's not quite a match, but I've got this kind of light green, and there's also, as you can tell, like white, gold, and black. I kind of went with the white because, I don't know, I feel like the vibe of the fragrance is very like demure and like innocent, and it's called First Love, so I went with the white. And yeah, honestly, I feel like this cap, like, doesn't this just look so much better without the cap? I feel like they could have done, like, yeah, I don't know who decided on this cap, but I feel like it was not the right choice. So anyway, that is the look for today. I've got these gold earrings to kind of match the gold we have around the atomizer. And yeah, I think the reason they went with this light green is that this fragrance does have a green vibe, and it altogether, it's kind of soft. So it's not like a vibrant green, it's like a soft, musky, white, light green. So I'm not going to spray it because I already did, but we'll get to that later. You know, actually, let's just do it now because I haven't smelled anything in a minute and my nose is kind of like fresh. So I'm gonna smell, this is the First Love, and then this is the Chanel Chance, and I'm gonna smell them and let you know if I notice any differences. Okay, so they're like 98% similar to me. Like, I feel like if I tried to say what's different, I'm not even sure if I trust myself. Maybe the Victoria's Secret is like a touch sharper and a touch more green, whereas maybe the Chance is like a touch softer. Yeah, I think that's the only thing I'm going to say, is that the Chanel Chance is a touch softer, but it's a touch, and it's the sort of touch that you would not notice unless you're smelling them side by side, and I hardly can stand by what I'm saying. They're so similar, so similar. I feel like, as well, this has pretty decent longevity, so I don't think there's any, like, it's not like, oh, it's a dupe, but it also, like, is gone after 2 hours. I did wear this yesterday and I woke up and I still smelled it very faintly on my shirt. So honestly, I'm just gonna say, if you're looking for a dupe of Chanel Chance Eau Tendre Eau de Parfum, I would recommend this. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the main accords and the notes that we have listed on Fragrantica. Here's the box, by the way. Okay, so on Fragrantica, for main accords, we have white floral, musky, fresh, ozonic, green, aquatic, powdery, and soapy. Yeah, so very different main accords and notes than listed for this one, which I'll touch on soon, but the smell is so similar. So yeah, I feel like I'm definitely getting, all that makes sense to me. It does have a green vibe, a musky vibe, a floral vibe. Honestly, doesn't necessarily come through like super white floral, but I feel like I do get Lily of the Valley. Maybe that's the main difference. I feel like I get Lily of the Valley here and not so much. I feel like the rose here is just a bit softer and more rose, whereas here I do feel like I get a little bit more Lily of the Valley. It's a little sharper, cleaner, but they're so similar. It's crazy. And I do feel like I get, okay, I'll get back to that in a minute. Okay, so anyway, I get all those main accords, they make sense, and I'll tell you the notes for this one. They're actually listed on the back of the fragrance. So, as you can see, we have violet leaf as our top note, lily of the valley as our heart, and musk as the base note. So, that makes sense. The violet leaf, I feel like, gives it a fresh, powdery, green, slightly ozonic feel. Lily of the Valley, it's that like clean white floral, and then obviously a lot of musk in the base. So that all makes sense to me, and I'm getting all of it. I couldn't really tell you like what I'm getting the most. Maybe musk? I don't know. It's not a skin scent though, but it's in that direction of a skin scent. I'll tell you now the fragrance notes in Chanel's Chance Au Tendre, because they are very different, but they smell so similar. We do have musk in the base, so that is in common, but for the top notes we have grapefruit and quince, and then for the middle notes we've got jasmine and rose. So it does have one white floral, but it's predominantly more of a rose fragrance, and then we got the grapefruit and quince in the top notes. I feel like the grapefruit gives that kind of squeaky clean brightness that the lily of the valley gives in the Victoria's Secret, and the florals just do not come off too different, so they kind of smell the same even though they're listed as different florals. But like I said, smelling these on paper, this does come through a bit softer like rose, that's the Chanel, and the Victoria's Secret is a bit sharper, just a touch sharper, cleaner, more white floral. Now that this has dried down a bit more, I also definitely get the quince coming through, whereas I obviously don't get quince coming through here, but it's so subtle. I feel like, you know, I've been obsessed with fragrances for about 4 years now, and now I feel like I can confidently talk about those differences, but I feel like so many people just like wouldn't notice that or wouldn't know how to put it. It's very subtle, very, very subtle. If I had to say which of these I prefer, I do prefer the Chanel Chance, because I just tend to, if something is a little softer versus sharper, I tend to prefer the softer. So I'm going to say I prefer this, but again, the difference in softness is so subtle, so I wouldn't worry about it, like honestly at all. This one is so likable. It smells nearly identical. Yeah, so anyway, we'll come back to this in a minute. I just wanted to touch briefly on my other Victoria's Secret fragrance that I own, which is just one fragrance that I got recently, and it's a mini. I might get a full-size bottle when I use this up one day, because I really like it. But this is Heavenly by Victoria's Secret, Heavenly Eau de Parfum, not to be confused with Heavenly Angel. I think that's what it's called, Heavenly Angel. That one is a little fruitier and sweeter. But anyway, Heavenly by Victoria's Secret, and I also have the lotion, which I'm actually not keeping, but I just have it to show you. This fragrance is a very soft, lightly sweet sandalwood scent. It's very much like a skin scent. I'll just real quickly read you the notes because there's only 4. It has jasmine, musk, vanilla, and sandalwood, and it's so pretty. It's very, very soft, lightly sweet, musky, and it's not a floral fragrance, but the jasmine just gives it a little something more, like a floral touch, a clean touch. It's so pretty. My biggest issue with this fragrance is it's very, very subtle, which I'm fine with, but I feel like as well the longevity is just not there. So, and they have remade this over the years. Even on Fragrantica, I can find 2 other Heavenlies from different, there was one from like 2014 and one from like, I don't know, before, like 20 something, I don't know, but this is the 2023 version that I have, so I have not smelled the older versions, so I can't compare them for you. But anyway, as I said, I own this in my collection and I really do enjoy it. I think it's beautiful, subtle, elegant, sexy, so that's Heavenly. And I have, just to show you, I did smell Victoria's Secret Bear, and I did have the mini, but I wound up selling that, and I'm trying to sell this. But this Bear is kind of similar in the sense that it's a very subtle skin scent. The notes are sandalwood, violet, and mandarin orange. This one just didn't work for me. Like, I feel like I could recommend it in general and say it's a nice, subtle, interesting scent, but I think it was the mandarin orange just did not work for me. It was like too sweet, and I think if it was just the sandalwood and violet, I would have loved it, but the mandarin orange in here was just like too sweet or something. It just didn't work for me. So anyway, those are my other Victoria's Secret fragrances. And then back to First Love by Victoria's Secret. We'll go over some other info on Fragrantica. So it has a rating of 4.14 out of 5 with 218 votes. So that's a really good rating, although it hasn't been rated that many times. And it was launched in 2020, so it's been around for about 5 years. I think they might be discontinuing it. I feel like that's maybe why it was on sale, such an extreme sale, but I don't know. People rate the longevity as like on the more moderate end, as well as the sillage on the more moderate end, just FYI. I definitely did smell it like 9-10 hours later, but or even more, like 12 hours later, but it was very faint. And then yeah, it's being compared to Chanel's Chance. Oh my gosh, you know what? I'm seeing that it's being compared to the Eau de Toilette, but I haven't smelled that in a minute, so I can't tell you if I think it's more like the Eau de Toilette or the Eau de Parfum, but it smells so similar to the Eau de Parfum. So it's also being compared to Daisy by Marc Jacobs. Okay, let's go ahead and finish by just reading a couple reviews on Fragrantica. So somebody says, this fragrance is fresh and green with an inoffensive lily of the valley scent. It's perfect for everyday wear, think church or the office, without being overpowering. Definitely not a sexy date night scent or seductive in any way. It's more like a mousy church girl wearing a cashmere sweater and a cross necklace. It reminds me of a blend between Zara's apple juice and Chanel Chance Eau Fraiche, though the scent doesn't stick around for long. Okay, yeah, I think it definitely, to me, yeah, it doesn't lean like sexy. It's more innocent. It's more of like an innocent woman or girl. Man, these are so similar. Yeah, the main difference I would say is this one's a bit like brighter, white floral, maybe a touch greener. This one's a little softer, and you get the quince coming through. Oh, I also wanted to say that if you have smelled Oscar de la Renta's Bella Blanca, they're not dupes, but they're in the same realm. They're like cousins. They're like green white florals. Okay. Okay, somebody says if Chanel Chance Eau Tendre EDP, this one, is a muskier version of the EDT, then First Love is the even muskier than the EDP. I personally don't agree with that. I feel like they're both kind of similarly musky. But anyway, this person says, from the accords listed, I was hoping to get greener Eau Tendre / Eau Fresh, but what I got was a muskier version of it all. Compared to Daisy Oh So Fresh, this one doesn't have that pencil shaving dry down. Lasts hours on clothes. I don't detect much similarity with Chance Eau Fresh, which is the green bottle. This is Eau Tendre. So anyway, that person is saying, it's so funny, that person says it lasts hours on clothes, whereas the literal person before said it is gone within an hour. So this is just how it works, you know. We all have our own ideas. Okay, some person next says, I bought the fragrance mist of this, and it was fruity and sweeter than I'd imagined. I tried it on paper and I thought it was very similar to Daisy by Marc Jacobs. Not my favorite scent, but I think it's a good one for the warm season. Yeah, this would work well in the spring and summer for sure. Okay, one more review. This says Love at First Scent. This for me is the perfect floral scent. It smells perfumey, not a mist. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. I wish it projected. And okay, this person is English second language, and they're trying to say they wish the sillage and projection was better. They had to reapply it now and then. Okay, everybody, so yeah, that's my review of Victoria's Secret's First Love, Violet Leaf, Lily of the Valley, and Musk. And, you know, you can quote me that I'm saying it's basically a dupe in my mind for Chanel Chance Eau Tendre. Very similar. The Eau Tendre is just a touch softer and fruitier, hence the quince. But they're very similar. So anyway, I really like the fragrance. I would recommend it. Might be going out of stock or discontinued. I'm not sure. But anyway, I am sending you all peace, love, beauty, and harmony. And I'll catch you all again soon. Okay, bye.